Well, good morning. Here we are on a lovely Wednesday in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, the Delta South. The occasion is the Analytics Big Data in the Cloud Conference, and I got the opportunity to chat with a friend of mine called Kees. Kees, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Kees, Hartigh, and
where's Kees? I thought we invited Kees.
And I've only been around the conference. This is my first year at it, and I'm a public servant, or a retired public servant from the University of Alberta. And I'm starting my own business as of about 2 weeks ago, and I was attracted to a number of, we won't call them meetings, will we? We'll call them seances.
Sure.
And I've met a lot of interesting people over the past couple of months at these particular seances, and as entrepreneurs from the city that I never knew existed before, and it's been a really exciting time.
Here, I'll explain what he means by a seance for those of you who only know it as a meeting of the spirits. The theme of the Alberta Council of Technologies this year is innovation and enterprise, the people, the passion. And the intent was to build a multimedia network to portray the challenges of entrepreneurs, which are often referred to as the Valley of Death. In order to build that multimedia network, we did something that often happens when you build lean startups. We simply let people know that this was the mission and whether they wanted to participate. And over the course of exchanging, chatting, and glasses of wine, or the meeting of the spirits, as we began to call it, a team formed, a crew, a good, solid network that were mission-minded, that had talent to bring to the table, writers, technical experts, production team. And that is the very body that is doing the web TV streaming and assembling the panel and putting a series of episodes together called The Seance, People, the Passion. Now, your journey has not been to become an entrepreneur in the twilight of your life.
No, I've always thought about it.
How did you arrive here?
Well, when I started at the university in 1981, there's been hundreds and hundreds of students in the engineering program that came through, and I got to know them quite well because I managed all the computer systems. And I usually knew them by their login ID, not necessarily by their names. So because I created all those email accounts for them. So
you never saw the face. All you saw was
rarely.
numbers.
Just saw their numbers and saw the data.
An inventory
and just watch
of data.
them. And these people would percolate up because they were superstars in the technical part of them, right? They were software people. They were the hackers. They were the people that I would have to keep an eye on.
Right.
And got to know them fairly well through just communicating through the internet and email and.
So in a way, it was simulating an entire nation or an entire community. It had boundaries on it, but the reality was they all were independents in that environment.
And so as they graduated and became entrepreneurs themselves, built small companies and developed technologies, and I followed them. Then a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago, I retired, and I actually started working for a company called Scanometrics.
Okay.
And it was a student of ours, and I worked for him for a year. Steve Slipsky. And worked for him for about a year, and just casual, and it was interesting because he was taking in professors from the university, and he had a lot of ties with the university.
So there is a life after university, both for students and for people who've been
absolutely, yeah.
Son of a gun, they made it across the moat. There you go.
It's a big moat.
Yeah.
And then last year, my wife got a teacher exchange in Australia, and I spent a year in the Outback. Yeah. So during that time, it was very remote, and all I had was my laptop. And I thought that, I do a lot of social media now, and you called me in because you heard I had some
someone
reach.
else linked me to you, and
that's right.
They said you were very effective at what you were doing in social marketing.
So, and I developed all of that while I was sitting in the Outback on a very weak link and playing around on my computer, and when I got back, I thought, there's maybe an opportunity here. So then I met you, and the rest is.
Now I met
short
one
history.
of your, I met your daughter.
Yes.
And it sounds like your whole family has an interest in this realm.
Well, my wife not so much. She likes the little kids.
And the gardening, probably.
And the gardening, yeah. Not much of gardening. But I have twin daughters, both of them are in university, and then I have a third who is in high school at the moment. And the twins, one's very artistic and one's very analytical. And one's in university studying ethnobotany, and she's very interested in some of the agricultural panels that are going on.
But they see a dad who isn't sitting still. They don't see a dad who's looking for a rocking chair. They see a dad who's curious, engaging, risk taker, taking on new challenges, meeting other people. It's a little strange for a guy who's, what, 45? You know?
I wish.
I mean,
I wish.
I thought your energy is supposed to be depleting. Well, you're ruining my my prototype.
No, I retired fairly early, actually, and it's a good thing I did because, well, there's personal reasons too.
But it doesn't sound like retirement, at least the way the books read about it or write about it.
No, but leaving to Australia for a year isn't a normal thing either.
Okay.
It's,
No, it just sounds like it's
I like a challenge like that. We like just twisting it a little bit and doing something
Some people
different.
get afraid of looking at they see a cave and they want to stay away from it. They see risk, they see uncertainty, they go into a strange space, they want to stay away.
No, I look at it as an opportunity. I mean, you know, it's a new beginning.
So new beginnings are refreshing, they're revitalizing. It's
Totally.
almost like a new life entering in a whole new
Totally. I
phase.
just love getting up in the morning instead of trying to drag yourself to a job.
This is fascinating because, I mean, here we get a lot of people, they go get a degree, they think once they got a degree they can turn off the learning channel. And for you, life is almost defined by the fact that in this journey, it's enriched by taking on a variety of new challenges, every one of which probably triggers a little bit of fear and uncertainty.
But once you've got to a point where you're comfortable and it's not a huge income, we live a very comfortable life now, and my wife still has to work, but I'd just like to create something so that when she's retired, we can have an ongoing source of income over and above our pension, and I can go live on a beach somewhere and do the same thing remotely.
Amazing, because I can't tell you how many times I hear of this intergenerational uncertainty that the seniors are phasing out and knowledge management would be an issue, and yet the seniors remain engaged. And I'm a senior, whether you want to be or not. I'm making you one for a few minutes to get the message across. But I mean, there's something going on within this baby boomer generation where they don't want to give up. And in fact, this is a phase that may be the most enriching and meaningful of their life because they are, in a way, remaining engaged and continuing to build a community.
Yeah.
And engage another generation, which isn't quite sure they want to work with this older generation.
I agree, and I see that in my kids. They haven't fully bought into the system, and when you buy into the system, you suddenly become a cog in this machine, another cog.
So,
and they're kind of pulling away and saying, well, maybe I don't want to buy into the system. Maybe I don't want the 9-to-5 job. I'm thinking of my ethnobotanist daughter. She's considering potentially going out to do some woofing in Australia and live on a farm for...
See, and I think the internet might have been playing a role in their evolution and their growth because it has enabled them to be part of a flat society without worrying about hierarchy. How do we get permission to get to the top? In the world that we are in today, where you can be literally connected to everyone and get access to almost anything, you can live in this flat structure and don't need to be so respectful of the old hierarchies that we were raised in. And that constitutes
you can turn
a
on
major
or turn off
generational shift.
anything you want. We haven't had a television since 1991 in the house because we were bombarded with advertisement. With the internet these days, you can choose your content. You can pull from anything you want.
You've got 3 daughters.
3 daughters.
The internet's got a lot of things on it that I'm not sure my daughters, I don't have daughters, I've got sons, but how do you feel as a dad with young girls going out into a world that is wide open?
Responsible. It's just responsibility you teach them.
So the family plays some role in providing a foundation going into a society which the values are almost wide open. A government can't really contain what they're going to be looking at, not looking at, and what they're going to be doing.
They were raised in basically a non-commercial world, and they've got a lot of honesty and integrity, and they're, sometimes that doesn't pay. You see a lot of people making a lot of money on the internet for just the things you were talking about, And I just don't believe that it's a personal belief, and I pass that on to them.
This tells me that in this world of emerging technologies, in this wide open world that we're living in, that the responsibility for families is actually increased, not decreased, at least when it comes to value sets.
Yes. I've never had a net nanny on my links,
right.
and they're free to look at whatever they want, but they choose to look at the positive
Well, it isn't
stuff.
just looking. I mean, what they're seeing is setting up interest in things that are beyond what's sitting in front of a screen.
Yeah.
And making an impact on career, on values that they carry forward, on communities that they want to be part of. They are no longer just bound by a geography. They're of the world from the moment that they get onto the internet and that new highway.
But they love to produce. They love to create. Both of them are artists, and they're both lovely web designers, and they love to create. So they want to just give back with their talents, I suppose, that I've taught them a little bit from. Just give back to the community and show what they can actually do.
Well, the interview is not meant to be a family center, but I think we're simulating a discussion that could take place in kitchens and living rooms across this country and across the world. I suspect this dialogue could be happening in China or India or the United States as it's happening here in Alberta. But it's an intriguing challenge to families today to stay awake about the challenges that their own children are facing in another room of the house. So I've enjoyed this immensely. We're going to continue to grow, both of us. I think we're building community and being part of many. And I want to thank you very, very much for that.
Thank you.
Join the conversation next year as more cities become data-driven. Become a community partner. Contact us at info@abctech.ca.